I put Superman against the deadliest horror movie killers, and some of these results are gonna genuinely disturb you. His planet-moving strength is useless against a cursed videotape. His super sense has become a death sentence, and one entity literally cannot be defeated. Here's exactly which horror villains would actually kill the Man of Steel. Let's start with Gabriel from Malignant, because this one's gonna hurt your brain. Gabriel is a parasitic twin who got surgically removed from his sister Madison's head when they were kids. But here's the thing, they couldn't get all of him out. Part of his brain stayed fused to hers, and now he can take control of her body whenever he wants. When Gabriel's in charge, he flips Madison around and runs her body backwards, so her face becomes his back, and he's got superhuman strength that lets him tear through police stations full of armed cops. The guy ripped apart an entire precinct using a trophy as a weapon. That sounds pretty manageable for Superman, right? Wrong. See, Gabriel doesn't have his own body. He is Madison's body. Superman could vaporize Gabriel with his heat vision in about half a second, but doing that would also cook Madison's brain from the inside out. Superman's whole thing is saving people, not accidentally lobotomizing innocent women because there's a parasite in their heads. This puts Superman in the worst possible position. He's got all the power in the universe, but he can't use any of it. Gabriel knows this. Every time Superman gets close, Gabriel can just grab Madison's consciousness and use her as a human shield. Superman has to fight a superhuman killer while making sure his punches don't turn an innocent woman into paint on a sidewalk. The real kicker? Gabriel gets stronger by absorbing nutrients from Madison's body. So while Superman's trying to figure out some gentle way to extract a supernatural parasite from someone's skull, Gabriel's getting more powerful by the minute. Superman's basically been forced into performing brain surgery on a moving target who's actively trying to kill him. If you don't hit the like button right now, I'm gonna assume you want Gabriel to win this fight, which makes you a terrible person. Subscribe or else I'm gonna tell everyone you root for the creepy parasite twin. So ultimately, Gabriel wins this one, but at least Gabriel stays in one piece when you hit him. The Creeper from Jeepers Creepers operates on a pretty simple system. Every 23 years, this ancient thing wakes up for 23 days to go shopping, except instead of buying groceries, it's harvesting human organs to replace its own worn out parts. It's got superhuman strength, can fly, and smells fear from miles away. Now, Superman could absolutely wreck this thing. Heat vision could turn the Creeper into ash in seconds. Super speed means it would never land a hit, and Superman's fought way scarier monsters than some organ-stealing bat creature. The problem isn't beating the Creeper once. The problem is that beating it once doesn't matter. See, the Creeper doesn't just heal from injuries. It rebuilds itself by eating specific body parts from its victims. Lost an arm? It'll rip one off someone who has nice arms and just stick it on. Damaged organs? It'll crack open a few humans and go organ shopping. This thing has been doing this for centuries, maybe even thousands of years. So yeah, Superman vaporizes the Creeper completely. Great job, Superman. But then the Creeper's gonna wake up tomorrow morning because it regenerated from that kidney it ate last week. Superman burns it to ash again. Fantastic. The Creeper comes back the next day because it still has some dude's liver tucked away somewhere. This creates the most frustrating fight imaginable for Superman. He's got unlimited power, but he's fighting something with unlimited respawn chances. Every time he wins, he hasn't actually won. The Creeper just learns from the experience and comes back stronger. The only real solution would be tracking down every single body part the Creeper has ever consumed and destroying all of them at the same time, which is basically impossible unless Superman wants to spend the next few decades playing the world's most disturbing scavenger hunt. But ultimately, those were just at least things Superman could punch. It's time to beat Aunt Gladys from Weapons. She shows up looking like your sweet grandmother who bakes cookies and knits scarves, except instead of cookies, she's been making cursed hair ribbons that turn children into mind-controlled zombies. She kidnaps 17 kids from a classroom using nothing but some ribbon and a few strands of hair. Superman rolls up to this situation, and what is he gonna do? Punch an old grandma? His X-ray vision shows she's just a regular human. No enhanced strength, no alien technology, no genetic mutations. Just some lady in a cardigan holding craft supplies. But those craft supplies are powered by actual magic, which means Superman might as well be fighting her while wearing a blindfold and oven mitts. Magic doesn't care about Kryptonian biology. A curse doesn't check if you can bench press a planet before it works on you. Gladys could turn Superman into a frog using a hair ribbon and some mumbled words, and all of his superpowers wouldn't help him hop away any faster. The worst part? Superman's moral code means he can't just heat vision some random old lady, even if she was evil. He has to figure out she's dangerous first, but by the time he realizes the sweet old lady is actually a witch, she's already got a lock of his hair for her next spell. Good luck punching your way out of being cursed, Superman. Gladys doesn't even need to overpower Superman. She just needs to complete one ritual while looking completely harmless. Superman saves people from obvious threats all day long. Flying robots? Sure. Giant monsters? Easy. But some lady doing arts and crafts in her living room? Yeah, that doesn't register as a threat until 17 kids go missing and Superman realizes he bought scissors to a spell fight. But ultimately, Gladys isn't that strong because she still needs supplies from a craft store in order to kill you. Candyman, on the other hand, gets summoned when you say his name 5 times in a mirror. That's it. No complicated ritual, no ancient artifacts. Just 5 words and decent bathroom lighting. Once he shows up, you're dealing with a supernatural entity powered by centuries of urban legend and community fear. Superman would hear about this and think, great, another killer. I'll just find him and stop him. Well, wrong move. Candyman isn't hiding somewhere Superman can track down. He exists inside the belief system of an entire community. Superman can't arrest a legend or heat vision an urban myth. Let's say Superman decides to test this himself. He looks in the mirror and says Candyman 5 times because he wants to understand the threat. Congratulations, Superman just summoned a vengeful ghost who's now locked onto him personally. Candyman appears with supernatural strength and a hook for a hand, which sounds manageable until you realize the hook is magical and Superman has 0 defense against magic. But Superman's real problem isn't fighting Candyman, it's that beating him doesn't work. Kill Candyman's physical form, he just comes back because people still believe in him. The only way to actually defeat Candyman is to make an entire community stop believing in their own folklore. Superman would have to somehow convince everyone in Chicago to just forget their most famous ghost story. Good luck with that plan, Superman. You're gonna fly around the city giving PowerPoint presentations about why urban legends aren't real? Hello citizens, please stop believing in the scary man with the hook, please. He's not good for me. Meanwhile, every time someone tells the Candyman story to their kids, they're making him stronger. Superman can move faster than light, but he can't move faster than gossip. And he definitely can't fight the collective unconscious of the entire city. At least Candyman has the decency to stay outside of Superman's body though. Have you ever read a book bound in human skin and written in blood? Well, neither has Superman, but that's exactly the kind of Wednesday he'd have if he investigated the wrong cabin in the woods. The Necronomicon Ex Mortis doesn't look threatening. It's just sitting there being a book. Superman scans it with his X-ray vision and sees pages. Harmless, right? Wrong. Reading one sentence out loud summons the Kandarian Demon, and this thing doesn't want to fight Superman, it wants to wear him. The demon possesses people and turns them into deadites, which are basically supernatural zombies with all their original memories but none of their moral restraints. Imagine Superman getting possessed by something that has 0 interest in saving people. Now you've got a being with planet-moving strength, heat vision that can melt steel, and the moral compass of a sociopathic toddler. The Kandarian Demon would use Superman's body to level cities just for fun. Superman can't exactly punch himself in the face to fix this problem. His willpower is strong, but this demon has been possessing people for thousands of years. It knows every trick. Plus, once Superman's possessed, he's got all of Superman's knowledge about Earth's defenses, all his friends' secret identities, and detailed information about how to kill every superhero on the planet. The only real defense against the Kandarian Demon is not reading from cursed books in the first place, but Superman investigates everything. It's his job. He's gonna walk into that spooky cabin, see the ancient tomb, and think, I should probably check what this has to say. Boom. Game over. Earth now has an evil Superman running around, and the only person who could stop him is currently being worn as a meat suit by a prehistoric evil entity. Ultimately, that demon needed Superman to read something first though. But the Bye-Bye Man kills you for just knowing his name exists. That's his whole deal. Don't think it, don't say it, because the moment you do, you're marked for death. He shows up and drives you insane with hallucinations until you murder everyone around you. This creates Superman's worst nightmare scenario. His super hearing picks up conversations from across the galaxy. His supervision can read text from space. Right now, while you're watching this video, Superman is probably accidentally overhearing someone somewhere mention the Bye-Bye Man's name. Congratulations, Superman is now infected by a thought virus. The Bye-Bye Man doesn't need to overpower Superman physically. He just needs Superman to think about him for half a second. Then the hallucinations start, and Superman begins seeing his loved ones as monsters. Lois Lane looks like a demon, his adoptive parents appear to be melting, and Batman shows up covered in blood and speaking backwards. Superman tries to use his super senses to figure out what's real, but that just makes everything worse. His enhanced perception means the hallucinations are incredibly detailed and convincing. He can hear heartbeats, see heat signatures, smell everything. But all that sensory information is being filtered through a mind that's under supernatural attack. And the cruel irony here? Superman's powers actually make him more vulnerable, not less. A normal person might realize they're hallucinating when things start to get weird enough, but Superman sees impossible things every day. Flying aliens, time travelers, magical beings. His life is already insane. When the Bye-Bye Man starts making him see crazy stuff, Superman has no baseline for normal to compare it against. The time Superman realizes he's been compromised, he's already been walking around for hours thinking about the Bye-Bye Man, making the curse stronger with every passing moment. Ultimately though, the Bye-Bye Man only corrupted minds. But Bughuul doesn't just hunt people and corrupt their mind. He turns children into family murderers using home movies. This ancient deity hides inside filmed images, and watching his cursed footage starts a countdown to your entire bloodline getting wiped out by your own kids. Superman investigates a series of family massacres and finds a box of old film reels. Being Superman, he watches them to gather evidence. Big mistake. The films show previous families getting brutally killed by their youngest members, and Bughuul's influence spreads through the footage itself. Superman basically just infected himself by doing his job properly. And here's where Superman's powers backfire spectacularly. His enhanced perception and vision again means he sees every detail in those cursed films with perfect clarity. Normal people might miss some of the horrific imagery, but Superman processes every frame, every shadow, every glimpse of Bughuul lurking in the background. His super memory means those images are permanently burned into his mind with photographic precision. Bughuul feeds on the souls of children, but he needs them to commit murder first. Superman doesn't have any kids, but he's got something better from Bughuul's perspective: access to every child on Earth. Superman visits schools, hospitals, orphanages. He's beloved by kids worldwide. One corrupted Superman could expose millions of children to Bughuul's influence without even realizing it. And the real twisted part, Superman would try to protect people by investigating more of these cursed films. Each new case would mean more exposure, making Bughuul stronger and Superman more compromised. Superman's natural instinct to help would create an endless loop of contamination. Bughuul doesn't need to defeat Superman in combat, he just needs Superman to watch the wrong movie, and then sit back and let Superman's heroic nature spread the curse to every family on the planet. Superman would ultimately become Bughuul's unwitting distribution network for turning children into killers. At least those are just earthly threats with rules though, because if you didn't know, Pennywise isn't really a clown. He doesn't follow Earth rules. The clown thing is just one of his costumes. This creature is actually a cosmic horror from outside our reality that crash landed on Earth millions of years ago. It feeds exclusively on fear and can reshape itself into whatever terrifies you the most. If Pennywise came to my house and tried to scare me, he would be dressed as a job application and I would be my pants scared. Anyways, Superman shows up to stop some child disappearances in Derry. Pennywise takes one look at Superman and thinks, finally, a real challenge. This thing has been eating scared children for centuries, but Superman represents the ultimate meal, a being with cosmic level power who still has emotional attachments to protect. Pennywise wouldn't try to fight Superman physically. Instead, it starts projecting visions of every person Superman has ever failed to save. Dead Kryptonians float past Superman's eyes. Lois Lane appears, screaming as she falls from a building Superman arrived too late to catch. His adoptive parents age and die while begging him to save them. Superman tries to ignore the hallucinations, but Pennywise operates on a multi-dimensional level. It can make these visions indistinguishable from reality using its control over space and time. Superman's super senses tell him everything he's seeing is real. His X-ray vision shows actual bones and organs. His super hearing picks up genuine heartbeats and screams. The feeding process has already started. Every moment Superman spends terrified makes Pennywise stronger and more real. This creates a feedback loop where Superman's growing fear gives Pennywise more power to create more convincing horrors, which generates more fear, which gives Pennywise even more power. Superman's greatest strength, his love for humanity, becomes the source of infinite terror material. Pennywise has millions of potential victims to threaten now, and Superman cares about all of them. The creature could spend decades just cycling through different people Superman loves, feeding on his anguish while growing powerful enough to devour entire realities. Moving on, something even more dangerous would be Pyramid Head. Your worst memories just grew legs and started haunting you with a giant knife. That is Pyramid Head in a nutshell. This thing doesn't exist in the real world. It's a psychological manifestation that's created when someone's guilt becomes so intense it literally takes physical form. Superman has more guilt than most people. He's got super hearing, which means right now he can hear every single scream, every car crash, every single person calling for help across the entire planet. He chooses which ones to save. That means he also chooses which ones to let die, even if it's just by not being in two places at once. Every person Superman failed to reach in time becomes potential fuel for his own personal Pyramid Head. Every Kryptonian who died while he lived, every villain he could have stopped sooner if he had been smarter, every natural disaster where he saved 1,000 people, but not 1,001. Once Superman's guilt reaches critical mass, Pyramid Head manifests as a 7-foot-tall executioner carrying a blade the size of a door. This thing exists specifically to punish Superman for his failures, and it's completely invulnerable to physical attacks because you can't punch your own psychological trauma. Superman throws everything at Pyramid Head. Heat vision, freeze breath, super strength, nothing works because Pyramid Head isn't really there. It's Superman's mind made visible. Fighting it just makes Superman more aware of his guilt, which makes Pyramid Head stronger and more persistent. The only way to defeat Pyramid Head is to forgive yourself for every mistake you've ever made. Superman would need to accept that he's not actually responsible for every death he couldn't prevent. Good luck with that, Superman. You spent decades thinking you had to save everyone, and now your psychological issues have literally weaponized themselves against you. At least that was just Superman's own personal monster though. Watch a cursed videotape, get a phone call, die in 7 days. Samara's whole system runs on media consumption, which makes her the perfect horror villain for the digital age. She doesn't care about your superpowers, she cares about what you've been watching on your phone. Superman investigates some mysterious deaths and finds the cursed tape. Being thorough, he watches it to understand the threat. The phone rings immediately. A child's voice whispers, 7 days, and hangs up. Superman just got enrolled in a supernatural subscription service he definitely didn't want to sign up for. Samara crawls out of televisions to kill her victims, which sounds manageable until you remember Superman lives in a world with screens everywhere. His Fortress of Solitude has tons of monitors. The Justice League headquarters has giant displays. Metropolis has digital billboards on every corner. Any screen becomes a potential portal for Samara. Superman could be flying through downtown when suddenly there's a wet ghost girl climbing out of a Times Square advertisement for an energy drink. She's not bound by physics or reality. She's a manifestation of pure vengeance powered by psychic energy. Real problem is the curse's viral nature. The only way to survive is to copy the tape and show it to someone else, passing the death sentence along. Superman faces an impossible moral choice: let himself die to contain the curse, or doom an innocent person to save his own life. Superman's moral code says he can't sacrifice others to save himself, but if Superman dies, Earth loses its greatest protector. Samara has created the perfect ethical trap. Superman either breaks his principles or gets everyone killed when the next world-ending threat shows up and he's not there to stop it. 7 days to choose between damnation and duty. The curse doesn't care which option destroys him more. Ultimately, Samara needs you to actually watch her movie though, but some houses are just haunted. This house in Tokyo is basically a supernatural landmine that explodes the moment you walk through the door. Kayako and her son Toshio got murdered here, and their death created something called a Juon, a curse so powerful it permanently stained the building itself. Superman gets a report about missing persons and flies to investigate. He lands on the property and game over. The curse just activated. Superman didn't need to read anything, write anything, or summon anything. He literally just had to show up. Kayako crawls towards Superman, making that horrible croaking sound from her broken neck. Toshio appears as a pale little boy with a dead cat. They're not trying to fight Superman. They're just existing near him, and that's enough. The curse doesn't care about Superman's powers because it operates outside the laws of physics entirely. The curse spreads through contact, which means everyone Superman has ever interacted with is now marked for death. Lois Lane gets haunted because Superman hugged her after investigating the house. The entire Justice League becomes targets because Superman attended their weekly meeting. Every citizen Superman has ever saved is now going to die horribly because they shook hands with a cursed person. The Juon doesn't have weaknesses. You can't fight it, reason with it, or escape from it. People have tried burning the house down, blessing it, and even demolishing it completely. The curse just moves to wherever the survivors go and keeps killing everyone it touches. Superman could try leaving Earth to contain the spread, but the curse has already infected him. Kayako and Toshio will follow him anywhere in the universe, turning every planet Superman visits into another haunted world. Superman accidentally becomes a cosmic plague carrier, spreading unstoppable death across the galaxy just by trying to help people. At least those ghosts were still recognizably human though, because Antarctica got a new research station. Something crashed nearby, and scientists investigate and bring back samples. Big mistake. They just introduced an alien organism that can perfectly copy any living creature down to the cellular level. The thing doesn't want to fight Superman. It wants to become Superman. This creature assimilates other life forms by absorbing their cells and creating identical copies, complete with all their memories, personalities, and abilities. Imagine a fake Superman with all of Superman's powers, but none of his morals. Superman would show up to investigate some missing researchers. He finds the facility in chaos, with everyone claiming the others are monsters in disguise. Superman uses his X-ray vision to scan everyone, but the thing copies people perfectly. Bones, organs, blood flow, everything looks exactly right. The real nightmare starts when Superman realizes anyone could be the thing, including himself. Did he get infected when he picked up that piece of alien tissue? Is that memory of breakfast with Lois real, or did the thing absorb those thoughts from the real Superman before consuming him? Every cell of the thing is an individual organism with its own survival instinct. Superman could be 99% himself and 1% alien parasite, and that 1% would be slowly converting the rest of him. He might not even know he's being replaced until it's too late. The thing creates the ultimate paranoia scenario for someone with Superman's responsibilities. He interacts with world leaders, other superheroes, and millions of civilians. If Superman is the thing, then Earth's greatest protector just became its worst threat. The creature could replace every major figure on the planet using Superman's access and reputation. Superman can't trust his own thoughts, his own body, or his own memories. The thing wins by making Superman doubt everything about his own existence. Ultimately, if he caught it early enough though, the thing could be at least burned with fire, unlike the reality cancer from The Color Out of Space. A meteorite crashes into a farmhouse. Scientists show up to investigate and find this weird glowing rock that emits a color nobody's ever seen before. Not purple, not magenta, just wrong. The color exists outside the normal spectrum of light, which should be impossible but somehow isn't. Superman flies over to help with the investigation, and bad choice. This isn't just a rock, it's an alien phenomenon that poisons everything around it. The color seeps into the soil, the water, and the air itself. Plants start growing to enormous sizes but taste horrible and make people sick. Animals mutate into twisted versions of themselves. The real problem starts when the color gets into Superman's head. His enhanced vision means he can see this impossible color in perfect detail, and human minds aren't built to process something that shouldn't exist. Superman's brain starts breaking down, trying to understand what he's looking at. Time stops working right around the meteorite. Superman experiences hours in what feels like minutes. His memories become unreliable. He can't tell if events happened yesterday or 10 years ago. The color doesn't just corrupt matter, it corrupts the basic rules of reality. Superman tries to contain the spread by lifting the entire affected area into space, but the color has already infected him. Everywhere he goes, the phenomenon follows. He becomes a carrier for something that turns planets into twisted, unrecognizable wastelands. The color doesn't have goals or intelligence. It's not evil, it's just fundamentally incompatible with our reality. Superman can't negotiate with it, fight it, or understand it. It's a cosmic infection that spreads by existing, turning everything it touches into something alien and wrong. Superman's greatest fear isn't dying. It's becoming something so changed that he's no longer himself, no longer human, and no longer capable of protecting anyone. Ultimately, the color had no goals though. It was just a mindless alien poison spreading randomly, unlike the Tall Man. Jebediah Morningside used to be a regular mortician until he built a portal to other dimensions and stepped through it. That trip turned him into the Tall Man, a 7-foot-tall agent of conquest who harvests the dead from multiple realities to build an army for his unseen masters. Superman tracks down the Tall Man after reports of grave robberies and missing bodies. The fight itself goes exactly how you would expect. Superman is faster, stronger, and more durable. He defeats the Tall Man easily, reducing him to a pile of smoking ash with his heat vision. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Another Tall Man walks out of a dimensional portal 30 seconds later, completely identical to the first one. Superman destroys this one too. A third Tall Man appears, then a fourth, then the fifth. The Tall Man has thousands of copies of himself spread across multiple dimensions. Every time Superman kills one, another steps through a portal to continue the work. Superman isn't fighting a person. He's fighting an entire production line of interdimensional Undertakers. Each Tall Man learns from the previous one's death. The second one uses different tactics, the third one brings upgraded flying spears armed with drills and lasers. The 10th one shows up with weapons specifically designed to hurt Kryptonians. Superman could spend centuries killing Tall Men and never make any real progress. Meanwhile, the Tall Man's operation continues across thousands of other worlds. He's conquering entire civilizations, turning their dead into dwarf soldiers, and building an army that spans multiple realities. The only way to truly defeat the Tall Man would be to find and destroy his dimensional portal network, but that portal system connects to every reality that exists. Superman would have to travel through infinite dimensions, fighting infinite copies of the same enemy, just to maybe find the source of the problem. The math doesn't add up. Superman loses here. All of these threats we've talked about came from somewhere else though, the ultimate evil. Everyone dies eventually. Now that's not a threat or a warning, it's just how reality works. I hope you don't die anytime soon, I want you to live a long, long life. But death from Final Destination isn't a creature you can fight. It's the concept of mortality itself, and it really doesn't appreciate being cheated. When people survive accidents they were supposed to die in, death starts getting creative with its corrections. A guy who should have died in a plane crash gets taken out by a falling air conditioner 3 days later. A woman who escapes a car accident gets electrocuted by a faulty toaster that's somehow filled with water. Superman's entire career is built on cheating death. He saves people from car crashes, building collapses, natural disasters, basically every way humans are naturally supposed to die. From Death's perspective, Superman is the ultimate rule breaker who needs to be punished. Death doesn't send monsters after Superman, it just starts making the world more coincidentally dangerous around him. Superman flies to save someone from a falling piano, but his heat vision accidentally ignites a gas leak 2 blocks away, which causes an explosion that brings down a construction crane, which hits a water main, which floods a subway tunnel, which traps exactly the same number of people Superman just rescued. Every act of heroism creates a more complex death scenario somewhere else. Superman saves a school bus full of children, so Death arranges for those same kids to be in the wrong place when a freak weather event hits their town next week. Superman can't win because winning just changes the variables in an equation that always ends in death. Death isn't evil or malicious, it's just doing its job, which is making sure everyone dies when they're supposed to. Superman represents the ultimate disruption to that evil, which makes him Death's #1 priority for correction. So, where does this leave the Man of Steel? Here's what nobody wants to admit about Superman. His greatest strength is also his greatest weakness. All that power only matters when you're dealing with problems that power can solve. But most of these horror villains don't operate in the same reality where punching things fixes everything. Superman is good at winning fights. These aren't fights, they're puzzles, curses, psychological warfare, and fundamental forces of nature. His heat vision can't melt a guilty conscience, his super speed can't outrun a viral curse, and his invulnerability means nothing against threats that attack his soul, his sanity, or his loved ones. And the uncomfortable truth? Superman might be the most powerful being in the DC universe. Power isn't everything. Sometimes the real horror comes from realizing that all your strength is completely useless against the things that actually matter. Fear, guilt, mortality, and the simple fact that some problems cannot be solved by flying fast and punching really hard. Ultimately, this video will definitely piss off a lot of people that are big fans of Superman. They'll tell me I'm stupid or I overlook things. I carefully selected these horror movie killers. There's a reason you're not seeing like Freddy Fazbear on this list, or even like Jason or Michael Myers. These are all like big idea horror movie killers, and that's why they all beat Superman. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment down below what other topics you'd like me to cover in the future, and give this video a like because it's the only way this gets shown to other people, which if you don't do, you're basically saying I should give up and quit my career, which is kind of mean of you to say that. Anyway, subscribe too, and if you want to watch another one of my videos, click the video on screen here.